So, let's get started. So, my name is Micah. I have Adam Bush, here with me right
Hello.
now. He's a comedian out of Tulsa. He's also performing in the Osho, where we're at right now, tonight. And we're doing a little pre-show interview with him since he's here, and he's got some stuff coming up he wants to promote. So, yeah, we're excited to have him here.
This is my first Facebook Live.
Ooh, yeah, great.
I've never done one.
It's the first one on that page as well. So.
I had to go to Neosho to
Yeah,
make
sometimes
that happen.
I know. So
Yeah.
Neosho has the best internet service,
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
so it's a perfect spot for Facebook Lives. So yeah, of course. First of all, thanks for making the drive
Happy to be here.
from Oklahoma.
Yes.
And you're a comedian, and let's just start with you. Like how long have you done comedy?
I just hit 4 years. I got started. I won a contest to open up for a comedian on Broadway 4 years ago, and I wasn't really looking to become a comedian, but I kind of caught the bug from there, and then started open mics, and then started getting booked for shows, and now I'm a full-time writer and comedian. I've been doing that for full-time for 9 months now.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So you quit your day job and
I
everything?
don't even have a day job anymore.
Oh wow! That's
Yes. Yes.
that's great. That's,
Yep. So that's what we're doing. I have a family, so we're hoping it works out.
Yeah, that's even
Yeah.
tougher for family. So what was the contest? How did that work?
Yeah. So a comedian named Mike Birbiglia.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
He was doing a one-man show on Broadway, and he held a contest. You do one of his old bits, post it online. He was going to pick his favorite one. You're going to come open for him one night on Broadway. I did it, and he picked me.
That's
And,
awesome.
Yeah, so went out to New York and I did it. It was a quick 2-minute set, and yeah, so my first time doing stand-up was on Broadway.
That's awesome. So you had no experience with stand up. You just like did the contest, and then from then on you're like, okay, now I got to write material, and I really have to.
Yeah, I've been a writer for a long time, kind of in different ways, like like video production, things like that. And so I had a little bit of experience, like telling stories, and a little bit of experience, like writing jokes, but nothing like now. Yeah, so like, and I had performed a couple of times, but maybe like 5 times. So yeah, I knew I liked it. I just never really thought about making it like my profession.
That's awesome.
Until then.
So how far in did you decide? Okay, I'm gonna do this full time, and
Yeah, so I was a couple of years in, which was during the pandemic, but I had a lot of free time to write, and did a lot of performing on Zoom. Yeah, and just after like the height of the pandemic, I got a call to film a Dry Bar special, and so when I did that, I was like, okay, maybe, like I had a solid 25 minutes. I was like, maybe I could do this, and so like I was kind of doing it part time, and then like it kind of became like too much. The work was too like work, and then traveling. I was like, I better make a jump, and so that's kind of how it happened.
okay. So you're like performing full time mainly like in Oklahoma now, or is it like nationwide?
Oh
or?
yeah, all over. I was in. Let's see if I get my week straight. I was in L.A., Burbank, Santa Barbara last weekend. We did have a show in Tulsa. I do a lot of shows in Tulsa, especially open mics where I live. And then this next weekend I'm in Virginia, and then I don't know past that. So yeah, a lot of traveling.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I'm gone most weekends. But a show like this is nice because I can go home tonight and be with my family.
So when you started comedy, did you already have your family and they just kind of agreed to it, or did it happen?
I did, yeah. Yeah, I didn't have the kid. We have one kid and one on the way. So I didn't have the first kid, but my wife, she did agree to it. And she could kind of tell, like, I had worked at a job for about 15 years, and she could tell I was kind of like sort of phasing out. And so she was on board, and we try to do everything we can to make sure that we stay connected when I'm on the road. And if she wants to go with me, she's always welcome. She doesn't pick. She's always looking for tropical places that we're going. So she did go to LA with me. Yeah. So, but now we got one kiddo. She's great, and I'm hoping that she can go with me here pretty soon. and then we got one on the way, so we'll kind of see. So I'll have a little break this summer. I won't work as much, but yeah, after that I'll be good.
That's great. It's always good if your family like supports it because
They're
it's
very
like difficult when you do like a career change
Yeah.
while you're
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't
in
have
a
done it.
relationship and then
Oh, yeah.
trying to get your partner on board and
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's self-employed too, so she's an artist. She's a songwriter, and so like we're able to kind of understand each other.
that's a good combination if both
Yeah.
are kind of like in the entertainment
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
So and then so you actually got the phone call from Drybar and they reached out and like, hey, we seen your stuff and
Yeah. Well, it was just an agent who was looking for someone to do a show in Oklahoma, and someone suggested me, and he booked the show with somebody else, but I had sent him some videos from a show that I had filmed myself, and he said, hey, I've got a relationship with Drybar. What do you think about me submitting you? They're looking for a couple more people for the season. I was just like, that'll be great. And so he did, and then one day I just got an email that said, how does this date work? And I was like, we can make it work. Yeah, so it comes out this year. I just saw the final one, like the approved and special, and so I'm really excited about it.
okay. So did you actually do it in Utah?
Yep.
Where they filmed it?
Yep. Yeah, we're doing in Utah. You do two shows. You do 3 comics film every night, and so I was the 3rd comic. So 1, 2, 3. You take a big break, bring in a new audience. 1, 2, 3. And so like the second show, I think I went on at midnight. So I was like, I was pretty tired, because we had flown in that day, but it went great. It was awesome. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And
So-
I think mostly they're using the second show on my special.
Okay. So from when they reached out and told you, hey, we want to do this, like, were you like, okay, I'm pretty confident of the material? Or did you think like, okay, I need to like test out more stuff and get it like special ready, or did you already like have your stuff?
I had all the material. I just didn't have it like in the order or as tight as it ended up being for Drybar. And so I just worked. My wife is a great editor. She's very helpful and very honest. And so we crafted it together. And then I put together a few. I didn't have a lot of time, but I think I put together 3 shows so I could run it 3 times. And that had I not done that, I don't know that it would have gone as well. But thankfully, like, got a pretty good following in Tulsa, so I was able to get people out, and they were very supportive of helping me. And and so that's kind of how we did it.
That's great. So do you like with Drybar, do you have to send them like a tape beforehand, like, hey, this is the set I'm gonna do, and they
Nope.
look over it to see if it works?
Nope, not at all. The only thing you have to send them is right out of the gate. To even be considered, you got to send them 3 like 1-minute clips, which is a little unique. Typically, people want to see 5-minute clips, but I sent them that and just kind of my best stuff. Then they never asked me about the set. The only thing they did do was after we filmed the first one, they came back with notes, but they were only notes about, because they're a clean comedy website, they were only notes on like, maybe don't say this. I don't think I actually got any notes because they send all these rules like pretty early on. It's pretty easy to follow. There were a couple of guys that they just had to make like a word change. Wasn't really that big a deal.
So do they just tell you in between shows, or do
Yeah.
they just like if you end up saying something, they just cut it out and kind of like shorten you?
No, they'll tell you in between shows. Yeah, if you because sometimes it's kind of hard to get out of the rhythm of a joke you're telling. And
Yeah.
there was one of the comics there had been telling, like, one of the jokes he did, his closer, he had been doing it for like 15 years. And so had he not been able to remember to make the change, they probably would have to cut the joke, I guess, which would have been really bad for his set. But, and you could cut, I cut about 2 minutes of material that I just kind of felt like it didn't really hit very well.
Okay. So what is like? I know Drybar is really like clean, family friendly. So what is like their definition of clean? Like, can you be like any blue or no blue at all? No,
blue.
nothing. It's just
Nope.
dry,
Yeah.
squeaky clean.
Yeah, no blue at all. In fact, they're kind of the like if you ever perform in a clean club, which I have, they're gonna ask you, are you clean? And if you say yeah, they're gonna say, are you Drybar clean? Because there's just like even my home club back home, they have a clean mic. but you can cuss in that mic. And so, in a dry bar, you cannot. There's no cussing. There's no talking about anything.
Euphemism or anything?
No euphemisms. Nothing sexual. Nothing political. I'm trying to think. Like, just think. Like, I think the best example of a dry bar clean comic would probably be Nate Bargatze. Yeah, he doesn't cuss at all. I think he could probably do his stuff in a church without changing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, like as far as like the ratings of clean go, like dry bar is like kind of the, pinnacle of clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for anybody that's like watching, if you're not too familiar with comedy, like Dry Bar is like, it's like mostly like it is a like in-person club, but it's mostly like an online presence, right?
Yeah,
Mostly they like do special recordings. So as a comic, once you get to the point and you have your Dry Bar special, then you're like somebody. You can be seen and get more reach.
It's really helpful. Credits are helpful.
Yep.
Obviously if somebody had the Tonight Show, it'd be a lot easier to get into a club or something. So having a dry bar credit from the beginning has been like huge. It's because, as you know, a lot of comics, like when people want to book them, they'll ask, you ask the question, how many minutes do you have? And especially newer comics, they typically will say like the wrong amount of minutes, like they'll say 30 minutes, and you're like, you kind of have 10. I've done a dry bar special, so I can say I have 25 minutes, and people are like, well, he does because he did the thing. Yeah. So yeah, super helpful. Yeah, it's super helpful, and I'm very thankful that I got it.
It's kind of like a Comedy Central special, just it's squeaky clean.
Yeah.
Because I mean, most of those are like half an hour-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, and they do a great job. And they got it down like this, and it's really easy to. They treat you well. You go in, you do it, and you fly out.
So do you have a name for your special yet, or is it still secret? Or
No. It's called My Mom's Funnier Than Your Mom. So a lot of my material, especially at the time, had to do with my family, and so a lot of stories about my mom, and so they were just kind of like right in the middle of it. And hard to name a special.
I know it's kind of got to fit like the theme of your whole material.
Yeah. So and typically people when they name their special, it's like a punchline, something like that. I just didn't really have one that I felt like I really wanted to use, and so and I also wanted something because there's so many dry bar specials. I wanted something family friendly that if people saw the title, they'd be like, oh, my family could probably watch that and like it, and so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. So based on the title, I can like tell your material is more like experience based, or is it like observational?
Yes, I don't do a lot of stuff that is
like topical.
Topical in regards to like what's happening in the world right now. I honestly don't pay attention very much to what's happening in the world right now. Like 90% of maybe 95% of the show I do has to do with experiences I've lived, stories that I tell, things with my family or my kid, or I'm a cancer survivor, things about cancer, traveling, a lot of stuff, being a comedian. So yeah, you get, when you listen to me, you get a lot of stories.
Okay. So I know like with people that mostly like people, comedians that do like topical, I know they always have something new to riff off, new news.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do like personal material, do you feel like, okay, I pretty much expanded on everything that happened in my life? I feel like, is it going to be tough to like come up with new stuff, or do you just see like what's happening to you still, or is he like get older, what's happening?
Yeah, I think there is that. Yeah, I definitely have explored topics, ad nauseum that I'm just like, I don't think I have anything else there. But I think the longer, you become a comic, the more you're able to learn just like the principles of writing a joke and figuring out how to mine out what's funny about something. So I'm kind of in a season where like, even the topics that I have talked about before, I'm looking at them again and just like trying to look at them under a microscope and get like smaller so that I can extract more humor. And that's really fun I think that's a really fun part of being a comedian, just because at that point you're just like, okay, well, like there's sort of an infinite amount of stuff. And then, the older I get, the newer experiences I have. I'm about to have another kid. That's a new experience. I just became, a full-time comic this year. That's a new experience. So, I don't know. I think as long as you can have some sort of life, hopefully you come up with something. Yeah. What you're not going to get with me is like, I don't have a lot of dating stories. Like, I met my wife, we dated for a while, we got married. Like, and plus I'm 41. I've been married for 13 years. I don't remember what it was like dating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to get a lot of family humor and a lot of stuff that has to do with just like kind of where I am right now.
So based on the title of your special, like My Mom is Funnier Than Yours, is it like a lot of like jokes about your mom? And if so, like how does she feel about like your comedy? And
She loves it. She's so supportive. I have never run a joke by her, but she has been to many shows, and I have a bunch of stuff about my grandmother as well, and I did this benefit not long ago that my grandmother just happened to be at, and like after I was done, like she stood up in the back of the room and bowed for everyone, and like she just was really proud. So
that's great.
No, my mom's a good storyteller as well, and so I think that she just likes things that I do. Now my wife, I have to be a little bit more careful about because I don't want to. Yeah. So and I run all my stuff by her anyway. So.
Yeah, that's usually always a tough topic. Like, if you include your partner into your jokes, and how do you say them? Like, even if it's just, I know a lot of comics, they have like jokes about their partner, but they're actually made up, not true.
Yeah.
But then it's still like, okay, how do I not look like on stage like a total idiot?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're not really treating your wife like this, but your jokes, it sounds like, hey, you're really stupid husband.
and I mean, that's a real thing. Like, there are times that I've told jokes and Diana has said, you kind of sound like a jerk. And so, I have been a jerk before, obviously. And so, that's a big part of it, because if you come off like a jerk as a comic, a lot of times people won't like you and they won't like your stuff. And so, it's kind of a never changing sort of thing to just be aware of.
Okay. So, is there anything else you like about the special, or something you want to like let people know about?
So
something's coming up.
Since I filmed that, I have filmed a whole new special.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
With Dry Bar, or
no, not with Dry Bar. It's self-filmed, I guess, self-produced. I love comedy so much, but I especially love long-form stories. So some of my favorite comics, like Mike Birbiglia, tell whole stories. And so I did my first one-man show in November in Tulsa, and we filmed it. It was a 6-camera shoot. It's about an hour long, and it'll come out in May. And so that's something that I'm really excited about. It'll be available on Amazon Prime, and then eventually it'll be available on YouTube. And so I'm excited about that, just because I love doing 5-minute sets. Last night I did a 20-minute set, but I really like the opportunity to be able to kind of tell a whole story. That doesn't always work in just like a regular comedy show, just because you have to kind of get invested into the story. And so I'm excited about that, and so kind of a big year.
So what's the name of this special going to be?
It's called Who Brought the Kid? So I grew up in Louisiana, and so it's all about growing up in Louisiana and my relationship with my father. And I think that's probably the best way to explain it. It's a coming of age story.
Okay, so you have like one special that's like mom-sided and one special that's
I guess
like
so.
dad-sided?
Yeah, I guess so. The Dry Bar special is definitely more of a comedy special. It's definitely more of what you're going to see on like Comedy Central, where it's just like a solid 25 minutes of jokes. I mean, a lot of, I kind of have, chunks of topics there. And it is a lot about my mom. But the new special is like predominantly like, just has a different vibe to it.
Okay, great. So they're both going to be available this year then. So you're releasing 2 specials in 1 year.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, Dry Bar, that's the thing. They film so many, and so they're kind of about 2 years back. And so my buddy that filmed about the same time as I did, his just came out, and so I don't have a release date yet. I know it'll be this year, but we'll see. But I know mine, which I can control, will be out in May.
Okay. I mean, we're going to keep up with the official release dates, and then we can like post them and promote it on the page as well. So, is there anything else you want to promote, talk about, let people know what's happening, where to find you?
Yeah, you can find me. I make it real easy. It's at Hey Adam Bush, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, also heyadambush.com. I have so many clips up. I post almost every day. And you can see like some longer form stuff, some really short stuff. And you can also subscribe to my email newsletter there so that you know when the dry bar is going to come out and my other special.
Okay, well, great. I'm gonna link all the links and
Okay,
the
cool.
website
Thank you.
afterwards. So yeah, and then thanks again for doing this tonight.
I'm stoked. It's gonna be
yeah,
great.
yeah, we're actually on location where the show is gonna happen tonight. So we're in Neosho, Missouri, at the Indian Springs Brewery. So if you're local, you still have I don't know how much time. Yeah, you have about an hour left to get here if you're planning on coming to the show if you're local. So yeah.
That's great.
I mean, if you're local, I would definitely recommend. It's a free show.
Yeah.
You get to see Adam
It's free.
before he
Our
becomes
friend,
famous.
My friend Michael's going to be on the show,
Yeah.
and he's great.
Yeah.
and
So it's your
gonna-
chance to talk to him before he takes off, and he's going to be a
Yeah.
famous comedian.
Oh,
So
hopefully.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, we'll
I mean,
see.
2 specials
Yeah.
in 1 year, 4 years in. You're on a good path.
Hopefully
It's gonna
so.
be
Yeah, thank
great.
you. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and thank you for doing the interview. And we're going to
Super
get
fun.
ready for the show tonight.
It's going to be great.
All right, thank
right.
you. And
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.